Welcome to Day in the Life of a Beekeeping Entrepreneur, February. Hello, I'm Griffith, welcome to Winnie Griffith. Here we talk everything beekeeping, farming, countryside living, and we do reviews as well. Now it is roughly 7 o'clock. I am a bit slow getting about the place at the minute. Fleer, our little one, she is not sleeping the best, and it is affecting my sleep and my ability to get up early in the morning. But we won't stop that from getting a productive day in. In the wax room or the kitchen, we were doing some candles last night, doing kilo blocks. Not last night, sorry, this was done in the day. It was only me out last night. And let's see. Ooh, perfect, look at that. Lovely. Kids have already been fed. They're changed up and we'll be leaving here just before 8 o'clock. But I'm gonna go check the sheep now, which they are the other side of the road because we have moved them out. Now spring is my favourite time of year. The person who lived in the farm before us, Brenda, she planted these snowdrops. So as you drive into the farm, you're welcomed with all snowdrops, and she did plant some daffodils as well. And we've taken that tradition a little bit further again, so I've gone and I've planted daffodils right up the road there and right along this verge past the gate, and I've carried on a little bit, and this side is starting to bud up. So the idea is when you come to the honey farm, whether you're coming to get honey, beekeeping training, or you're coming to get beekeeping supplies, as you're coming down, this honey farm is full of flowers, and it just sets the mood before you come into the farm. I think flowers is very, very powerful of that, and obviously flowers, honeybees and honey, they all are very much tied together. They can't survive without each other. So I just thought, you know, wouldn't it be great to have a honey farm and have a honey farm that's full of flowers. Doesn't matter what time of the year it is. Obviously in the winter it's very hard, but you know, second we come into spring, I like there to be lots of flowers on the farm. Now when you're keeping any kind of livestock and you put them out early spring, very important for them to have magnesium lick blocks. So that's high mag block, and that can stop sheep, cows, etc. getting staggers. Because even though we look in here, the sheep actually came in here yesterday, lots of grass in this field. They've just grazed that field off. You can see it's gone a little bit yellow where they've grazed down, but they can get staggers and die just because I think the nutrition in the grass isn't good enough at the start of the year. They're lacking a trace element. So we put the lick out every spring, whether we're keeping cows, sheep, they all get high mag blocks, and that tends to work very well. So basically 98% of these has lambed, maybe 3 or 4 left, but the majority is lamb, and it was just getting too warm and nice to keep these sheep in the shed any longer, and they were desperate to go out. So basically I just walk around this field twice a day, and I'm quite lucky. My bedroom is just there, and I've got binoculars there, so I do keep eye on them throughout the day as well, to see if there's a sheep in the corner or by yourself pushing the lamb out. Basically that's all I'm looking for now. Apart from that, there's nothing to do with it outside. They've got plenty of food, there's water here, they're all pretty much healthy. So it's just a basic quick check twice a day now, and hopefully they'll lamb themselves, the ones that's left. If not, I'll just have to give him a helping hand. So it'd be really cool to get the lambing video on this episode, but looking around here, nothing is lambing. Okay, so back to the house. another cup of tea and take the kids to school. Then I've got a busy day ahead of me today. I've got a bottle lamb which I need to feed. I might feed that now, or I'll do that later when the light is a bit better and film it. And I need to deliver honey. I need to get compost, lots of compost heading out time of year. Orders to pack. Esset is in work today as well, and Arad. So full house today, plenty on. Let's get into it. Goal! Right, let's go, come on, I'm in the car. Let me pick up. Hey. Hey, don't you? Come on. Come on, eh? Come on, Dad. Hey, man, come on, eh? Two jobs to do this morning. We're going to feed some bees, or heft and feed if necessary. Then we're going to get compost. Now, it is a pain taking this big trailer to go check and feed bees, but unfortunately the way the costs of fuel, everything's going, I've got to try and do as many trips as I can on one journey. So the site we're going to today, it is further than where the compost is, but I can link back on the motorway and come back up through that way. So it justifies bringing the trailer, check the bees, come get the compost, then come back here. Saves doing 2 journeys instead of 1. So that's what we're doing, but we just got to do it with a trailer. Luckily, the farm we're going to, there is plenty of space to accommodate a big rig like that. Now, fondant wise, I've got some fondant here. It's got added pollen, it's just gone out of date, so we can't sell it, but no problem. My bees will happily take that. And the thing with feed and best before date, I'm sure if you're a beekeeper and you're watching this, you know basically the best before date stuff, a lot of it is absolute nonsense. I mean, once you put honey in the jar, I think we've got to put 2 years best before date on it, which is nothing. You know, they found honey in the pyramids in Egypt, thousands of years old, tested it, that was still fine wheat. So the fact that we put honey in the jar, then all of a sudden the best before date is 2 years, I mean, it's crazy. And it's just as crazy, the guy selling Himalayan pink salt. The Himalayan pink salt's been in the earth millions of years old, or whatever, how old the Himalayan pink salt is. They mine it, they store it in these big sheds or these big open spaces, transport it all over the world, but the second they put that salt in the jar, that's out of date in 2 years or a year, which, I mean, come on. That's where all this food waste comes from, really, is just best before date rules being totally out of context. The guys or the people that come up with the best before date stuff, I'm pretty sure, you know, half of them don't know anything about food and the way food degrades or rots or what happens to it. It's just a blanket thing that they put on to get people to spend more money. But you know, in this we've got irradiated pollen, so there's nothing in there to deteriorate. It's vacuum sealed. It's covered in sugar. So basically, I would be surprised if this was still perfect in 100 years. You know, it's vacuum sealed, irradiated. There's nothing that can go wrong with it. But there you go. Out of date, apparently. So we got 4 boxes our fondant with pollen. We got a box of bakers there. My suit is in the back. Hive tool in the corner. No need for smoke or anything. It's literally heft and drop a pack of fondant on them if they need it. It is promising colder weather in the next few weeks for a period of time, so I wouldn't recommend feeding bees pollen substitute now, even though that's exactly what I'm doing. But the feed I'm feeding is slightly different. It is pure pollen, sorry, it's pure fondant with particles of pollen in it, so it is different than something mixed up into a paste. But you know, I can't sell the added pollen fondant anymore, so I'm going to use that. Doesn't make sense using something that I can sell as well. So you know, that's the kind of things we try and do with the business, try and save money and be efficient in the process. So that's that loaded. I need this bag to net the compost down. You'll see me load the compost, take 3 pallets on the trailer. I used to do that with the old pickup, but it turned out that pickup couldn't tow 3.5 ton where this Ranger can, so I can legally tow 3 pallets behind this trailer now, no problem at all. And that saves a headache and just peace of mind that I know everything is legit on the road, because you don't want Vossa pulling you over and you being overweight. That is the last thing you want. So you want everything to be legit. And one of the reasons I bought this pickup was it had to have the 3.5 ton towing for the heavy haulage that we do. And I call it heavy haulage, you know, that's just joking, me saying heavy haulage. That's what you call the big lorries, take big diggers and lorries and everything on the road. But you know, I call this heavy haulage rig. Well, we are here, got my takeaway tea. And if you're wondering, I did reverse that all the way down there without hitting the grass. Long time ago, I became a ranger, about, what was it, back in 2010. And basically working out with a group of boys, and everybody could tow. And I was a young 22-year-old, and I was told basically, you can either be a driver or a screwdriver. And every time you'd mess up reversing the trailer or driving, you get hard time for it. So basically 10 years as a ranger forced me to be able to be good at reversing. I'm not saying I'm the best. I wasn't the best by far out of that crew of boys, but I am confident in taking this anywhere. And that's a good rule in life really, or in farming, beekeeping, farming, anything. If you want to be able to take lots of weight or a lot amount of product, you've got to take a trailer, then you've got to become good at it. Because you'll go places and it'll get really, really tight, and you don't want to get caught out and have to unhitch the trailer to turn around and cope with that embarrassment. Because let me tell you, I am speaking from experience. I remember years ago going to a farm with a big 16-foot trailer, much bigger than this trailer. And I had to do the unhitch walk of shame, where I failed to turn that thing around, and I had to unhitch, turn that trailer around by hand, and then re-hitch up. Never went back to that farm again, never want to see that farmer again, because the embarrassment was too much. So, take it from me, become really good at the trailer before you put yourself in a place where you may embarrass yourself, because it is embarrassing. Right, we are here anyway. That's enough of my story time from back in the day. Fondant down the bees. I haven't seen these bees for a while, so hopefully they're still there. No trees on top of anything, and hopefully they don't need feeding, but if they do, I am prepared. Right, let's go. I could see the bees working the hazel. Getting a bit of pollen in. Let's see what's going on here. Always a good sign when you see the hives. Things looking pretty good here. Bees are flying. Not a great deal, but the sun is just starting to come out. This tree is down, didn't hit anything. We'll take this out the way. Quick look around. Oh, this one's active. So, I've been here for a long time. Everything is here. Looking good. So what I do when I haven't been somewhere for a long time, I come back and I count the hives. Oh, they're bringing pollen back. So I just go and count the hives, check back on the notes, make sure everything is here, and we'll crack on with the work. So 19 hives here in total, and the hefting begins. Leave my phone there. Really heavy. Really heavy. Oh yeah, really heavy. Now most of these are as native as you can get. What I call Welsh black bees. So they will tend to go through the winter easy on food. Oh, that's unbelievable heavy. Why are they so heavy? The bees are there. Good sign. That one's kind of lighter. If you're wondering what that is, there's a pheasant shoot on this farm, and that's a fibre wad from the cartridge. So they shoot all over this site in the winter, and I'm pretty sure the guys, they walk through the apiary to pick up birds, and I have heard stories some of them have been stung, so some of them don't come in here anymore, but I don't mind that. They come here, and if anything were to go wrong, they tell me if a hive is upside down or something. So you know, it's not a bad thing keeping bees on shoots or estates, that type of thing. People are really genuine, they're country people, and they will tell you if your hives have been knocked over or something, so that's quite handy. Right, down the line, really heavy. Now when you see a brick on the hive, take the brick off. That needs feeding, okay. Put that there, remind me. That's okay. Woo. Glad to see these bees still nasty. One, very, very light. Even thought it might have been a dead out. But if we look at the colour of these bees, cross, see the gingerness in them? Probably more of like a buckfast type strain or something. And they need food, so glad I came here today. They desperately need food. They're gonna get 2 packs. Look at that. If I was a bee, I'd say that's delicious. This, of course, Laphead, Italian bee feed manufacturer. We're the only UK stockists of Laphead feed. There you go, I'll have to check them every month. Better. And just like that, gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, you can lose bees like that. If I maybe would have given that another 2 weeks, that could have been a dead out. Believe it or not, this hive is very, very light. Very, very light. Woo! Well, that was the result. No dead outs, so 19 went in the winter, 19 has come out, although we're not 100% yet. There could be drone layers in there, but nonetheless looking good. Bees were just as nasty as what they went in the winter as they're coming out the winter. And this site mainly, or if not all, what I call well, I call them Welsh black bees, your locally adapted bees. Mainly that's why they've gone through the winter now, hardly need any feed. Out of the 19, I'm only fed 5, only 2 were extremely light, like danger level light. 2 out of 19 where they could have died in the next 2 weeks. But basically, yeah, they've gone through really good. And that's it. Nothing else to do here now. Let's get some compost. Here I am in Cwm. All this mountains of it is made in compost using that machine. That's the fine stuff. The bags are in the shed. That is one big trommel, whatever grades it. They break it down, they turn it, they turn it, they turn it. That machine is doing something as well. Really impressive place. And I think I'm the only one in the UK that ships this UK wide. Excellent product, recycling at its finest, peat-free organic compost. If you're in the market for compost delivered, 1 bag or full pallets, then I am your man for that. Don't be digging up peat beds when we've got this kind of manufacturing in the UK and in Wales. Now when I take compost on this trailer, it's not as safe or secure as a solid-sided lorry. So I take the top layers down, move them around the pallet so there's no movement. I'm going to net this down now, and that will be proper secure and safe to go on the road, because these bags will slide. Take it from me, I've been shifting this compost for about 2 years now, and these bags are hard to transport, and I found this is a safe way of doing it. I just pulled inside the road there. I always do this. I just check to make sure nothing's moved, everything's spot on. Right, back home for food. Back at base, just had food. My mum was down today looking after Fleer, and I had a delicious pheasant and mushroom pie, so that was a bonus of having your mother down, still looking after you. So the next job is unload this, take the netting off, the bags that I've pulled on, put the 2 layers back on top of the pallets, tractor out, take them off, then pallet truck to put them in the shed. Now if you're wondering how on earth does a beekeeper end up selling compost, well, there's a good story behind that. So I started selling the compost back during the first lockdown. We'd already started selling wildflower seeds, and we were after compost during lockdown. Everybody was home, everybody was worried food was going to run out, and everybody was gardening, and you just couldn't get compost. Now, a lot of compost comes from places like Holland, and it comes from Ireland. Well, all that had stopped. So basically, the compost supply in the country went right down. Well, I knew of Come Environmental. I was still travelling on the roads because I had to tend to the bees. So lockdown didn't really affect our work. We had to go see the bees, because if we didn't, the bees would basically die. So like any kind of farmer, you know, lockdown or anything, it doesn't apply to us. We've got to maintain our livestock, and we've got to farm, and we've got to produce food. And I was driving on the place, and turns out Combe had stayed open throughout lockdown because they're the recycling centre as well. So if they didn't stay open, basically all the rubbish would pile up everywhere outside everybody's houses, and things would be a lot worse. So they stayed open, and we started getting compost from them. We put on the website, and it was unbelievable that the amount of compost we sold that first year during lockdown, or the first couple of lockdowns, or even when lockdown eased off. It was just unbelievable. We were sending pallets to London, up to Scotland, all over England, all over Wales, all the way down to Cornwall. Literally every corner of the UK we had shipped compost to, and we were sending it in individual bags to flats in big cities across the UK. It was unbelievable, the demand of compost, just because nobody had it, and we were lucky enough to have it. And basically, for the first, 3 months, I used to drive to Combe every single day. I'd pick 3 pallets up at a time, come back, and sometimes I'd do 2 trips a day. So I'd come back with 6 pallets of compost to process back here. And I tell you, I've never worked so hard in all my life. That first lockdown that came in, you know, I wasn't on furlough or anything. I only worked part-time. You know, I couldn't afford not to work. So I saw a little gap in the market there, compost. We sold it at a really good price, made it available, and you know, we helped out a lot of people with the compost. And even though now we don't sell anywhere near that kind of volume anymore, the same people come back to us every year wanting the same quality compost, you know, the Welsh organic peat-free compost, and it sits alongside our wildflower seeds quite nice. So, you know, you can plant wildflowers for the bees, you can plant fruits, vegetables in your garden for the bees, so it does tie up quite nicely into it. So that's basically how we ended up selling tons and tons of compost every year. And we still sell, you know, big volume of compost every year, just nowhere near enough now that the garden centres and everything's back open. But yeah, that was a bit of an adventure, and a lovely story to finish it off. We now keep bees on Combe as well, so we helped each other out during lockdown through all that hard time where there wasn't money to, you know, changing hands. People had to be in work, like me. I had to continue to work through it. And a nice little story there, the bees are on that site now where they produce the compost. So that lake apron you see in my videos, that's where the compost is actually made. So it's a really nice little full circle story there. Yeah, we'll be selling compost for many, many years to come, no doubt. Mewn yn barod nesaf?
Barod I fynd.
Diolch fawr. 3 boxes. Let's go. Now with honey deliveries, this is just one delivery. Normally we try and do deliveries together, or I'll do deliveries as I'm doing the bees. It would have been ideal this morning to deliver this honey, then go see the bees, then get compost, then back. But unfortunately, that route didn't work out today. But we try and do it like that most of the time. But it all depends. This order came in last week, so I don't want the customer to wait anymore before getting it. So I'm doing this as a one-off up and back trip, just because if you sell any kind of product, you got to try and keep delivery pretty good and constant. If someone's out of honey, they got to get it ASAP. Now the local shops or really local, we'll deliver ourselves. Everything else either goes through Castle Towel, Blasar Fwy, the two wholesalers we supply, or if it's direct through us, then we'll ship that out using the courier network. We don't deliver much honey ourselves, but the ones that's been with us from the start, the local ones, we still deliver that in person. Well, that's it. It is 5 o'clock exactly, and that is basically the working day done. Now I am checking the sheep again. Quick look, can't see anything wrong. More milk for the other lamb, and that's me done. Back in the house, catch up on some emails, and then I've got to take the kids swimming by 6:30. Don't worry, I'm not taking you there. I'll have to bear that myself. And that's it for this month's A Day in the Life of a Beekeeping Entrepreneur video. So don't forget, if you like this video and you want to watch more of the same kind of content, then please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I try my best to upload news every week. Thanks for watching.